All right, we got great news for you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Down goes Baradar! Down goes Baradar! Who, you might be asking? Well, this guy is important. Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar is apparently the operational chief of the Taliban in Afghanistan, although, of course, he was in Pakistan, where a lot of those guys are hiding. And he's the second guy behind Mullah Omar, the blind leader of the Taliban. Now, he might actually, in some ways, be more important from an operational perspective. Mullah Omar is very, very important from a symbolic perspective, and he still apparently does lead the Taliban. But Baradar is the one that gave the direct orders. And according to the best intelligence we have, including Newsweek did an interview with him through intermediaries a little while ago, he said he meets with Mullah Omar once every couple of months to make sure that he agrees with the direction that that Baradar is going. But Baradar is the one that gives the actual orders to his guys in the field. And he's the one that decides, along with the Shura Council, the council that they have for the Taliban that actually meets in Pakistan, who will be the governors of the different regions of Afghanistan for the Taliban, because they have an unofficial government where they run the different provinces. So capturing this guy was enormously important. Now, it's not just because we caught a very important member of the Taliban who we're fighting against in Afghanistan, but it's also very important because that means finally it appears that the Pakistani intelligence services and military is on our side and actually working with us. Because they've known where he is for quite some time, most people believe. And this is actually not the first time that we've caught Baradar. We caught him all the way back in 2001. We also caught Mullah Omar back then in 2001, in the beginning of the Afghanistan war. So why the hell are they out? Because Pakistani intelligence services released them after we caught them. The number one and the number two guy in the Taliban, why did they release them? Because they were allies with them, and they were not on our side. And for almost all of Bush's term, he wasted his time with Pervez Musharraf, the man who had, the general who had seized Pakistan, who was anti-democratic, and who actually did not help us at all. He pretended to help us, just milked us for money, and ruled in Pakistan for even longer. Now that we have a democratic government in Pakistan, Obama has the right strategy. He's used the right carrots and sticks. And remember when I was in the beginning of his term, when I was very excited about Obama's foreign policy? Well, I said the thing that I thought he was doing most right was Pakistan. And to this day, that's still true. Now, you can make an argument as to whether he should have increased troops in Afghanistan or not, whether that affects his Pakistan policy or not. But in Pakistan, he's been very tough and very smart at the same time, because he does the drone strikes and he pressures the Pakistani government, hey, if you don't take action, I'm going to take action, and at the same time gives them incentives to work with him, whether it's more money, et cetera, et cetera. And apparently those carrots and sticks have worked exactly right in getting them to say, all right, here is one of the most important guys in the Taliban, and they've had him over in a platter. Now, we don't actually have control of him. Pakistani intelligence has him, but they're also working with the CIA in interrogating him, etc. So it's a big win for Obama's strategy against al-Qaeda and the Taliban, a big win for him in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And I think it's even more important for the ramifications it has, because if we get the Pakistani government actually working on our side, well, then we can do a hell of a lot more in fighting the Taliban. Okay, so those are all great things. Now, of course, the Republicans are going to say that they got to find something to criticize, right? Because this is a huge win, and they can't admit that Obama's effectively fighting the war on terror or the war in Afghanistan. And there's nothing bad to say about this. Well, so they've come up with something. Right away, instantly, this morning, Glenn Beck. He's already criticizing the way we're handling the interrogations of Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, even though we're not handling the interrogations. He's not even in our custody. He's in Pakistani custody, even though Glenn Beck has no idea how they're doing the interrogations. In fact, the New York Times reports that Pakistan might be torturing him, because that's what they have done many times in the past, and they don't have the same rules that we have, right? So without knowing a damn thing about how we're handling him, Beck steps in and says, oh, I mean, there's so many great twists and turns here. Somehow the liberals are going to blame the troops for this? What? You'll see that twist at the end. And that we're going to bring him to American court. He's in Pakistani hands. But the biggest thing of all is he's got a genius idea on what we should do with him immediately. So let's let you watch. Clip number 9.
Was I the only one that got up this morning? I turn on Fox and Friends, and I'm listening, and you say, we've just captured number 2. We've just captured the second most wanted guy in Al-Qaeda. The first thing out of my mind, shoot him in the head. Shoot him in the head before it goes into a court, and we're doing all of this nonsense back and forth. He's a bad guy. Shoot him in the head.
See, unlike others, this guy was captured on the battlefield, they would argue, even though he was in suburban Karachi.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Me too.
Shoot him in the head.
You would shoot him before you would try to get information? What you're saying is that you're worried as to how they're going to handle him?
Yeah, no. If I were in charge, we'd be interrogating him. And we'd interrogate him and interrogate him and interrogate him, and then we'd shoot him in the head. But with these people that are currently running our country, and they'll make the troops the bad guys and everything else, shoot him in the head before we all of a sudden release him into, what, primary schools in New York City? What are we going to do with this guy?
All right, first, someone else edited that video, so we didn't put the mustache on Glenn Beck. Someone else did, so just making that clear. Okay. Now let's get to what he said. This guy who's in Pakistani hands right now is going to wind up in a primary school in New York. He doesn't have, Beck, he's got nothing, right? So he's got to find a way to criticize Obama when he did something great here. So he's going to say, okay, eventually, I guess, if Beck knows any of the facts of the case, he's going to wind up in American hands, and he's going to get tried in a civilian trial. It's going to be in New York, and then he's going to be acquitted, and then he's going to be released into a primary school, and then our troops are going to be blamed. Who's blaming our troops? Our troops, that in this case, it wasn't our troops, it was the CIA, did a great job, our intelligence services. What are you talking about? And then, even bigger, shoot him in the head. That's your big, great idea. Look, the thing is, there are a lot of people in the country who do think that, who think like, yeah, good, go kill him, you shoot him. Ah. All right, well, look, you people are un-American. You don't understand the whole point of the country, and I feel bad for you. Again, I pity you because you have no sense of how great this country is. What made America great is that we don't capture people and then immediately shoot them in the head. That's what dictators do. That's what communist governments sometimes do, Glenn. Do you know that? Okay. That's what fascists do, Glenn. Do you know that? Okay. Americans, if we capture someone, we treat them with certain rules and regulations. Where if they're a prisoner of war, they get certain rules. If they're a terrorist detainee, they get other rules. If they're a criminal, they get certain rules, etc. Why? Because we're a country of men. We're a country of laws and not of men. Okay. And we're a democracy, and we have a constitution. And we're civilized, Glenn. We don't just grab someone and shoot them in the head. If you want to live in that kind of country, there are plenty of choices. And you might love the way some of the countries out there, you know what, it's Kazakhstan? I don't know. No, you know what, I'm probably besmirching Kazakhstan. I was going to say Iran, but not quite. No, they don't shoot people in the head arbitrarily either. They've got some process as well. Saudi Arabia, I can't think of a country that's as right-wing and as much of a lunatic as Glenn Beck is, as Glenn Beck wants America to be. If we did that, we'd be worse than all those countries. Oh, we got somebody. Hurry up. Don't ask him any questions. Guilty, not guilty. Do we have the right guy? Hey, Glenn, what about, we think we got the right guy and we're ecstatic. What if it's another guy named Abdul Baradar? Did that ever occur to you? Muslims, I can't tell their names apart. Have we made that mistake before? We have. Number of times the CIA kidnapped guys and then was like, whoopsie doopsie, we got the wrong guy. I mean, don't make me go through the dozens of cases. There was a guy from Canada. There was a guy they grabbed in Germany, and then they dropped him off in the Balkans many months later. I think it was about 18 months or so later. Like, sorry, we had the wrong guy. Here, go away, after we tortured you. You know, there's a reason for the process. There's a reason for the rules. Because we don't want to shoot the wrong guy in the head. Now, if we got him, and he has done something wrong, and we prove it, then we might execute him. That does happen. But we do all of that after we go through the process because we're decent human beings, unlike you, Glenn Beck.